All right, good morning once again. This is Brother Darren picking up on part three on the conversation, discussion, debate between Bart Ehrman and Justin Bass on Did Jesus of Nazareth rise from the dead, which was shown on a Premiere Unbelievable, the YouTube channel, about 3 days ago on a show called The Big Conversation. And what I've been discussing in the two previous parts was where Bart Ehrman had made reference to whether Justin Bass, as a non Catholic, didn't believe in the Marian apparitions as well, which is Catholic dogma, or basically supports Catholic dogma around Mariology and the titles for Mary as given, and the role that she plays in Catholicism. And that was a bit of false equivocation for me as far as Bart Ehrman was concerned. And it really shows how, the Bible talks in James about basically a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So just to look at what Bart Ehrman pulled out of his hat, so to speak, was this nonsense. But we're going to continue on looking at the Marian apparitions, and I'm essentially just showing why the Marian apparitions have no standing within true Christian thought. And I've been breaking down on the previous two segments that I uploaded the first Marian apparition, Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico, Our Lady of Kibeho in Rwanda, and the genocide there. And plus, I talked about the genocide in Mexico from, which went before Our Lady of Guadalupe. So we're going to move on to a third Marian apparition now, Our Lady of Fatima. And this is quite important. Our Lady of Fatima, formerly known as Our Lady of the Holy Rosary of Fatima, is a Catholic title of Mary, Mother of Jesus. And this is based on the Marian apparitions reported in 1917 by three shepherd children at the Cova da Areia in Fatima, Portugal. The three children were Lucia dos Santos and her cousins, Francisco and Juancita Mato. Jose Alves Correa de Silva, Bishop of Liria, declared the events worthy of belief on the 13th of October 1930. And lo and behold, Pope Pius XII granted a pontifical degree of canonical coronation via the papal bull Celebrima Solemna towards the venerated image on the 25th of April 1946. So the Pope is giving it the official Vatican seal of approval there. So what I want to look at though is, so these young girls supposedly see a vision of the Virgin Mary, who once again, props up the Catholic false doctrines around the veneration of Mary and the part that she plays in Catholicism. But this is quite important here. It says, the published memoirs of Sister Lucia in the 1930s revealed two secrets that she claimed came from the Virgin Mary, while the third secret was to be revealed by the Catholic Church in 1960. The controversial events at Fatima gained fame due partly to elements of the secrets, prophecy, and eschatological revelations allegedly related to the Second World War and possibly more global wars in the future, particularly the Virgin's request for the consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Now, just to elaborate on that a little bit more, the date is the 10th of April 2023, and as we speak, we've been at war, or should I say, Russia has been at war, following on from their invasion of the Ukraine for over a year. That war has had catastrophic events on, you know, the rest of the world, including increasing food prices, manufacturing prices, affecting energy prices, and so on and so forth. But effectively, Russia sit under the Orthodox Church, and the Orthodox Church, mainly in the Great Schism of, I think, of 1054, split away from the Catholic Church because the Pope wanted to be chief bishop over the Orthodox Church. But that's quite funny as to how, this Marian apparition supposedly is prophesied that these wars with Russia would come. But I'm going to move on from that. Just something to think about. But what I want to move down to is this section here, which says latter years of the children. And it says, at the age of 14 in 1922, Lucia, who was one of the girls who initially is said to have, or supposed to have seen this apparition of Mary, she was sent to the school of the Sisters of St. Dorothy in Vila, a suburb of Porto in Portugal. Now, it says Lucia continued to report private visions periodically throughout her life. She reported seeing the Virgin Mary again in 1925 in a convent. This time she was asked to convey the message of the first Saturday's devotion. And that's a Catholic devotion which, according to Sister Lucia of Fatima, was requested by the Virgin Mary. She said she had a subsequent vision of the Christ child reiterating this request. That was in 1926, actually, but we're gonna look at that right now, because what I want to bring home from this is that these Marian apparitions are not of God, and Christ in some of these visions is literally changed or transformed from being an adult to a baby. And that is not the gospel that we know or the gospel that we preach. Christ, at the end of his ministry, ascended to be with the Father. He has no need, in my opinion, to transform into a baby. But anyway, let's look at this. This is from CatholicNewsAgency.com. And it's entitled Anniversary of Apparition of Child Jesus to Sister Lucia, to be commemorated in Spain. So it says, well, this is the bit that I want to get down. So remember, Lucia now is supposed to be at this convent of the Doreta sisters, which I believe was in Portugal. And it says, while she was there, after already of supposedly being a witness of these apparitions in 1917, she was out on the patio of the old convent when a supernatural event she described in memoirs took place. On February the 15th, 1926, I was very busy with my work and I almost forgot about that. The apparition that took place on December the 10th. And I was going to take a bucket of trash out to the garden. It was there where a few months earlier I had encountered a child who I asked if he knew the Ave Maria. Answering me, yes, I told him to pray it so I could hear it. And since he did not want to pray just that, he was not able to only pray the Hail Mary. I asked him if he knew where the Church of Holy Mary was. He told me he did. I told him to go there every day and to say, "Oh, my Mother of Heaven, give me to your Son Jesus." I taught him this and I left. On February the 15th, 1926, going back to the same place as usual, I found a child that I thought was the same one, and I asked him, "Well, did you pray to the Mother of Heaven to give you to Jesus?" The child looked at me and said, "And have you spread throughout the world what the Mother of Heaven asks you to?" And with that, he was transformed into a brilliant child and I realized he was Jesus. So this is absolutely insane. We have these Marian apparitions, which when you test these spirits and you test the doctrines of Catholicism, doesn't match up to be sound doctrine. And yeah, it's just nonsense. But I want to show you something else quickly. If you look down here, this is just a search. You've got other Catholic mystics. There's a site here called mysticsofthechurch.com where a child Jesus is supposed to have appeared. Saint Padre Pio is another Catholic mystic who's also supposed to have had an apparition of the baby Jesus appeared. So this has happened on more than one occasion in the Catholic world. I'm not really going to look at this. This is something called Visions of Jesus and Mary. I've not looked at it really to incorporate it within my overall sort of response. But as we can see down here, it does mention Rwanda again. And, that is serving as a prop for, these Catholic traditions, these false Catholic traditions and dogma. So I'm going to move on from that. And something else that I wanted to have a look at as well. But I think that will kind of complete what I needed from that section. But what I'm going to do is do a wrap up here and finish off this video. I'll be coming back to this section in a minute. But suffice to say, as far as these Marian apparitions and everything that happened with, these Catholic so everything that happens with these Catholic Marian apparitions, and how they support genocide or conquest, bloodshed, literally the land running red with blood to support these Marian apparitions. It's of the devil. And I'll say that once and again, and even louder, it's of the devil. And any Christian should condemn this and should be aware of this. And if you get a chance and you speak to Catholics, let this be made known to them. It's nothing to do with God, nothing whatsoever. And that is why me in particular, I definitely don't support ecumenism, Catholics coming together with Protestants per se, because there's false doctrines. And I've already said before, actually, you can't have these false doctrines and believe them, I believe, and enter heaven. There are some people that are obviously ignorant of them, but I believe you can't have them and enter heaven and truthfully believe them. You know in your heart they're wrong, but you still believe them. Let's see if I can find the verse that I wanted. Okay, so Revelation chapter 22, verse 15. It says, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without or outside are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters." Well, Catholicism, worshipping these saints and venerating them and all of that sort of stuff is idolatry to me. And there is nobody that on the face of this planet Earth that is convincing me otherwise. That doesn't mean, yet again, I will not have love or compassion, or try to speak to Catholics, in the right way, but it's wrong. And it says, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So if you love these, the Catholic false doctrines, transubstantiation, purgatory, Mary's perpetual virginity, Mary ascending into heaven, veneration of saints, celibacy, the Pope being the chief bishop supposedly on earth, the vicar of Christ, and they're wrong, but you love them and you continue to make do with that lie, I can't see how you will be saved, or you may lose your salvation anyway. That's just me speaking, and according to scripture. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this part 3 now, and I'll see you in part 4, and we'll pick up from there.